One day after a state law prevented transgender girls from playing girls' sports in New Hampshire, a federal judge has now blocked the law. The judge says one of the two girls who sued over the ruling is allowed to rejoin her team until the next court hearing weeks from now, and she did so last night. The judge's ruling only applied to one of the girls because her family requested emergency legal action since her practice was last night. So let's bring in Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes and walk us through this temporary restraining order that the judge granted against the law.
It's the same standard for an injunction. It goes the same. Just like I say for negligence, it's the ABCDs, and you got to walk through them. This is the same way. The judge has to look at four factors. The likelihood of success on the merit. They're looking at the facts, and they say, well, when I'm looking at the facts, does this plaintiff have an opportunity to be likely be successful going forward with their case? So they said yes in that case. You got to have all four. Is there irreparable harm? That's harm that money can't buy. So I can't repay you for missing practice. That's a harm that you can't get back. And so irreparable harm's there. Is ruling in favor of the plaintiff equitable to all parties? And then the last one is it in the public interest? And so the judge in this case found that all four factors were there. You grant the temporary restraining order or injunction, and then you wait for this case to move forward. And so, I mean, they don't list a lot of the facts, what the judge thought, given his reasoning. But I mean, obviously he had to meet those four factors or we wouldn't be here talking about it now.
And so the other girl involved in this obviously didn't meet that same criteria.
No practice. She didn't have a practice. Her counsel said, look, we don't need to push forward with the temporary injunction. And both parties are saying that same thing. We want this ruling to not just affect this young lady, but we want it to affect everyone in our state and in our country. And so the other party said, look, we don't have the standing to bring this claim because you have to have good facts and a good situation before you can go forward with this type of injunction, or it would have got tossed out instantly. And so the other party, good lawyering on their behalf, they said, look, we don't have irreparable harm. That's normally what stops most people from getting these types of things. Normally, I can pay you money to fix your issue. Well, if she didn't have practice, didn't have a game, there's no harm. It's not even worth considering. The other girl had that situation, bring the claim and let the judge make a decision.
Well, and this has been an issue talked about nationwide. It's going on in different states, but could this even get to the Supreme Court?
100%. These types of cases are what you want. If I go back to what I just said, you're talking about good facts. So you have good facts here. You have something that can check and challenge the constitutionality of a state ruled issue, and you have timing. Think about it. We have an election coming up really soon. We have some Supreme Court justices that may be rolling off in the next few years. And so these types of cases, it'll take its time to walk through the court system. So it may be 3 to 4 to 5 years before you get an answer. And so during that process, or at least I should say before it gets to the Supreme Court, they'll get an answer quickly, but for it to work its way through the Supreme Court will take time. And so this young lady won't even be actually an issue during that time, but this case is the type of case that you want to be able to challenge any type of issue you have to go before the Supreme Court. 100% ripe for the Supreme Court.
So something we'll be keeping our eye on, not for months, but likely for years from now. Khalif, thank you.